at first, they'll make you feel like the most loved person in the world, only to use it to get what they want.
Hmm.
And it's usually, how much can I take and how little can I give?
Did you push record?
Thank you so much for tuning into Second Act TV. Today, I'm so happy to welcome Dr. Gary Salyer back to Second Act. Gary, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Silka. It's just great being back. Always love these conversations between you and me.
I love talking with you. And Gary, of course, is the author of Safe to Love Again: How to Release the Pain of Past Relationships and Create the Love You Deserve. And that's a big topic. And Gary, we have received so many comments from listeners about being in these hurtful relationships, dealing with narcissism, narcissists, how harmful that is. And then, when you and I talked about doing this segment, one thing that I just recently learned is the term covert narcissist. And actually, a few of our viewers have brought that to my attention as well. Let's talk about that. How do we spot, identify, and what do we do with a narcissist?
Okay, so let's look at, there's lots of, if you look at DSM-6, the whole big professional manual, there's like 9 characteristics you need to have. So we want to just say up front that just being normal, run-of-the-mill, self-centered or selfish at times, like we all can be, isn't narcissism. I mean, we can all be a little narcissistic. There's a spectrum.
Right.
But the hardcore version goes down to one, what I call deep wound, right? Somewhere along the line, they were not given a full right to be fully human. What does that mean? It means when their selfhood was first coming online as a little kid, they were told they could only be good. They could only be strong. And anything that's bad, that's darkness, that's weak, doesn't reflect well upon the parent. So they can't be good with saying, I have strengths and weaknesses. I have good and bad. I can share my ice cream cone with my sister and turn around and pull her hair, as a little kid, right? I mean, not that I would ever have done that, mind you, but they can't own up to this other side. And all of the grandiosity, all of the power trips are meant to protect that very fragile selfhood. I call them missing right to create a full human experience, their own experience. So once you get that core wound, what it's about protecting their basic humanity at all cost. They've got, in order to feel love, they've got to be better. They've got to be stronger. They've got to dominate you. It's because they were never loved. They will trade power for love every day of the week. Every day of the week, it is a matter of power. How do I get one up on you? And they're good at reading you in order to manipulate you.
I think I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but manipulation is a key word here, a key thing to look for, right?
Yes. Now, if you think about it, they run grandiosity because it's the only way they can have a self. They can't say, like you and I can, I've got a few things to work on, right? What they do, so when they get in a relationship, they deep down inside, you're an object to be used. They lack empathy because they never got any empathy. What is empathy? But most of the time being able to feel into someone's hurts, their weaknesses, and just understanding them. They never got that. So they defend against all that at all costs, and they seek grandiosity. They want the big stage. They think they can talk themselves out of anything. The rules don't apply for them. They don't pay attention. So when you run that grandiosity, you'll get terms like, at first, they'll give you a taste of that sort of grandiosity. It's called love bombing. And they'll read your needs and they'll make you feel like the most loved person in the world, only to use it to get what they want. And it's usually, how much can I take and how little can I give?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, the quote overt narcissist, what you just described, is rather obvious.
Yes.
right. It's the covert, and that I found that so fascinating that that's not so obvious.
Yeah, the covert version is, now you can have that same wound, but what if something happens and that narcissist gets disempowered, a real feeling of lack of self-esteem? Something happens that they need the grandiosity. You get this, what's called vulnerable narcissism, right? Or covert. And what for them is they really can't get to the greatness they want, and they're worried to cover it up. So they're hypersensitive to any sort of criticism. All feedback is failure, and they will blow up in fits of rage, right? Hot-headed is the term you'll hear about. Snap temper, a hot amygdala, whatever you want to call it, right? And, they're always worried if they're good enough. But secretly, if you give them a whole lot of praise, they're good with it. They're good with it. They have these visions of how great they'll be. Say they're a speaker, an overt narcissist will come up and say, "You're going to get treated to the best speech in the world today because I am the great and powerful speaker of all time." Some version of that, right? And don't you just love me? Now, the covert will come in, and they might do little things. It'll be a good speech, and they'll walk off and they'll ask somebody, how come somebody else got the standing ovation and not me?
Mm-hmm.
They're always worried that someone will criticize them, they won't measure up, and they too can have the world owes me a living syndrome.
Yeah.
How can I manipulate?
Yeah, when I was doing some research on it in preparation to talking with you, two of the signs that I think are very much relationship oriented is like that they have a I think you just described that, a charming on and off switch, which just confuses the heck out of you, and then the blaming and shaming, and I think that's so important for our viewers to understand that might be a really strong sign you're dealing with somebody.
Yes. They can, they're really subtle about it. Right?
Yes.
And rather they can do something and really screw up, and they'll go, and you can complain about it, and they'll go, well, that's probably more about your father, isn't it? And they'll gaslight you. Both of them will gaslight you. I mean, they're good at turning things around to the place where you're with either one of those narcissists. Mm-hmm. When you're in a relationship and when you get in these intimate conversations especially about repair, something they've done wrong, suddenly you feel like you're in a jet airplane in a spin, and you don't know which way is up, left, or right. Because they're good at turning things around back on you. And you walk away feeling, gosh, is there something wrong with me that I deserve that?
Yeah, exactly.
They shame back on you.
Yeah, but just a key point, the gaslighting, and just in case somebody doesn't know what that is, it's making you question your own behavior, your mind, your feelings, your thoughts. It's dark. That's dark.
Yeah, the term gaslighting came from a movie, like I think 30 or 40 years ago, where this guy was a narcissist, and there was a gas light that was burning outside on the street, and he in order to control his wife, he kept telling her the light was not actually on. It was in her imagination. And he knew he had her when she said, well, it's not on. And then that's gaslighting, telling you your reality is not reality. Only theirs is the reality.
Yeah. And I mean, so I think that for the purposes of this segment and for viewers who might be, oh my gosh, this could be me. But I think the whole questioning yourself is a huge, huge red flag, is it not? And if so, what do we do about it?
Well, if you're it's very difficult to change a narcissist. Mm-hmm. Under best of circumstances, research I've read, about 14%. Now, I have worked with a few narcissists, and sometimes, they're very difficult to deal with. They're usually brought in as a spouse, by a woman who's in a distressful marriage. But occasionally, you can work with them if they're not, the horribly malignant type, right? But, the big thing is you have to be able to stand your power. You have to be able to say, that's not the truth. Mm-hmm. And you have to be willing to leave if they're not willing to make repairs. The one thing a narcissist cannot do is make a repair in a relationship. You will feel used, you will feel manipulated, you will begin to question your truth in a way that your guts are saying, this doesn't feel right. Now I knew that, and then you get into little mind games, Jedi mind games. It's like the Jedi goes, go think about yourself. This is really your problem. Instead of being death sticks in the Star Wars movie, they tell you that you're the problem. Yeah. And if you just fix yourself, then this relationship would be fine.
One of the things it says, don't take it personally. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. How do you not take, I get the advice, but how do you not take it personally? I don't know. I just thought that bit of advice it didn't make sense for real world that I read. And I wanted to ask you about that. Absolutely advocating for yourself and then boundaries. But again, for me, and I don't want to, we're starting to get to the end of this segment. I want you to sum it up, and that's why I have you on, because you're the expert. But setting boundary, how do you set boundaries? For me, it's like, get out.
Well, I think it comes down to what they don't have is what I call a full right to create their own experience. And it's, you do have to set boundaries on how much of the dark side they can put on you, their dark side. Yes. So it's okay to say, look, I have my stuff in this relationship, but this is really on you. Set a boundary. No, I realized, yes, there were some things I can work on, but this relationship needs honesty, and I need more honesty about what happened just here. There's got to be some integrity. You have to be able to look them straight in the eye and say, we are in a relationship, but you can't have my soul. Yeah. That's basically, and you have to be able to set those intrapsychic. You have to be able to put not just the boundaries on what their words and doings are, right? But you have to not let them get in your head so that suddenly you are owning up to all of your bad stuff and none of your good stuff. That's, and they don't, and they get it the opposite way. Yeah.
It's a tough topic. In summing up, I want to just point out that obviously if you feel that you have been destroyed or have your mental health in serious jeopardy, reach out and get help. Gary, how would you sum this up to someone that's going, oh my God, I can identify with everything I just heard?
If you're identifying with everything that's heard, just realize that you deserve to have someone who's there for your own needs as well as their own. And you deserve to feel empowered to create an experience that's really intimate, where both people know their weak sides and their strengths. And it's two people weaving a fabric of integrated repair so they get better and better, not just one side being dumped on. And it's really the power to be able to say thus far and no further. Because with this particular wound, if you're in a relationship with it, it will roll forever, and you may have to get out of the relationship. The big thing is to know that the trauma is to yourself. You begin to doubt yourself. Find someone that you can find your truth again, and you are empowered to know who you are and what you're not. And that means you own up to all of your good. Yeah, you've got your bad, but re-own your good side. Re-own your power. Yeah. Take the power back from the narcissist.
Yeah. Well, Gary, thank you so much. A very, very important topic. We'll probably be doing a lot more on this because, like I said, there's so much interaction on the subject. We'll link to your book, Safe to Love Again, and I look forward to talking with you in our next segment of Second Act TV.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.